Got a good video for you guys today. I'm going to be hopping into my MLB team tier list. We're going to be looking at every team up to this point in the 2022 season and ranking them through 5 different tiers. And those 5 tiers are going to be World Series contender, playoff team, on the bubble, not great, and awful. So pretty simple concept here. Now let's get right into the video. All right, so getting started off here, first team we have is the Detroit Tigers. They were expected to be good this year, but they've been pretty bad. In fact, they've been one of the most disappointing teams in baseball this year. I don't think they're quite awful because I'm reserving that for the worst of the worst, but they're definitely not great. Pittsburgh Pirates. They're similar to the Tigers. They didn't have expectations, however, but they're still pretty bad. I don't want to put them in the awful category, but they're pretty close to it. They're definitely one of the worst teams in baseball, but they do have O'Neal Cruz, who's been really exciting so far. Colorado Rockies, another team that falls in the not great category. They're not going to compete for the postseason this year. They're not on the bubble, but I don't think they're one of the worst teams in baseball. New York Yankees. This is definitely a World Series contender. They have by far the best record in baseball so far. If they get to the postseason, which they are, I think they're going to make some noise in the postseason, and I could really see them the way they look so far this year. Unless they really choke, they should be in the World Series because they're that much better than any other team in the American League right now, other than maybe the Houston Astros. Chicago White Sox, huge disappointment this year, similar to the Tigers. They were expected to take this division and run with it. So far, they're under 500. So far with their record, they're definitely not great, but with the talent they have, I think they're on the bubble. I mean, I believe in them. I think second half, if things change and they get fully healthy, they could definitely be a team that could sneak into the playoffs because they're just too talented to be below 500. Los Angeles Angels, this one, I mean, they were so hot to start the year and they've been awful lately. I mean, I don't think they're down in the category with these teams down here, but I do think it's going to be tough to see them make the postseason, but I do think they're on the bubble. I think they could maybe sneak in. I think it'd be surprising, but I think they're going to be in the conversation for the last wild card spot. San Diego Padres, my preseason pick to win it all, and they're doing all this so far without Fernando Tatis Jr., so I think they're only going to get better once they get him back. They're a really good team, and I honestly think they are a World Series contender. Kansas City Royals, they are one of the worst teams in baseball this year. They have absolutely no pitching at all. Like, they have a decent offense. If they had even halfway decent pitching staff, they could be maybe like close to 500, but their pitching staff is probably the worst in baseball. I'm close to putting them in the awful category, but I mean, I'm just going to put them towards the end of the not greats here. Chicago Cubs, another team that's definitely not great. I don't think they're awful. They just don't have too much talent outside of Wilson Contreras, Ian Happ. Yeah, so they're just not a talented team at all at this point. They're definitely not what they used to be, and they're definitely not going to be competing this year. Houston Astros, they're as real as it gets. I think they're definitely a World Series contender. They just took, I believe, 3 out of 4 from New York. Maybe not. Maybe they split. Because I know Aaron Judge hit a walk-off home run the other day, but they looked like they matched up well with the Yankees in this series, and I was really impressed with how they looked. And, you know, with the players on that team, they've had plenty of experience in the past in the postseason. I think they're going to be dangerous come October. Milwaukee Brewers, neck and neck with the Cardinals at the top of the NL Central right now. I don't think they're quite on the World Series contender tier as of right now, but they're absolutely a playoff team. I think they're going to be playing baseball in October. They're a very good team, top to bottom. They have one of the best starting rotations and pitching staffs as a whole in baseball. Minnesota Twins, they're towards the top of the AL Central. They've been battling it out with the Guardians lately. They've had some postseason collapses in the past. Like, they haven't won a playoff games or a playoff series, that is, I think, since I can remember. They're a really good team, don't get me wrong. They're definitely not a World Series contender. This is hard because, I mean, they're a playoff. They could be a playoff team, but they also could be on the bubble. They might not make the playoffs if they don't win their division because the AL East is so loaded. As of right now, though, I have to put them in as a playoff team, although I think things could change and they could very well miss out in the postseason. But right now, they're definitely a playoff team with how they've looked so far. New York Mets. See, this is a tough one because I only want to put two teams from each league in the World Series contender category. And with how they look, they definitely deserve to be in it. So I'm not going to disrespect them. I know another National League team I'm going to put up here, so I guess I'll toss 3 National League teams in the World Series contender category because I just can't disrespect the Mets with how good they've been so far. I believe record-wise, they're the second best team in baseball behind the Yankees, so they're very, very good, and they're not even fully healthy right now. They don't have Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom, so they're going to be really good all season long and definitely going to be in the postseason. Seattle Mariners. This is a tough one. I was huge on them preseason. I said this many times. I had them winning the AL West. I had them winning the AL West, taking 99 games this year. So far, they've been so disappointing, but lately they've caught a little bit of fire. So I think they're going to be a team that's on the bubble, and I would not be surprised to see them potentially make a run for the postseason. At this point, it looks pretty far-fetched, but I think they're on the bubble. Philadelphia Phillies. Getting stuffed up here, my bad. Philadelphia Phillies. Bryce Harper just got hurt. That's going to be a huge blow to them. I don't think they're quite a lock as a playoff team right now, but they're definitely going to be on the bubble. I would love to see them make the postseason because they haven't made it in so long, and I just like their team as a whole. I like Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Rhys Hoskins. I just like them a lot, and I really do hope they make the postseason. But right now, they're definitely sort of on the bubble. Texas Rangers. This is a tough one. You could argue that they're on the bubble. I know I did put them on the thumbnail as not great, but I think they're a little bit better than the rest of the teams in here that are not great. So they're towards the end of this tier here on the bubble. I'd be really surprised that if they made it, but I just think they're a little bit better than the rest of the teams I put below them. St. Louis Cardinals. As I said before, they're battling at the top of the NL Central with the Brewers. This is a tough one. I'm probably going to put more playoff teams in World Series contenders than are actually going to make the playoffs this year, but I'll put them in the playoff team category right now because they're definitely looking like it so far. The way Goldschmidt's looked, Nolan Arenado, Tommy Edman, they've just been a really good team so far. Washington Nationals. This is your first awful team. They have Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Josiah Gray, and that's about it. I don't want to disrespect anyone because I know they have a couple other decent players, but in reality, this is just Juan Soto on an island. They're not a good baseball team at all. If they didn't have Juan Soto, I think they'd be a lot worse. So as we stand today, they're definitely an awful team. Toronto Blue Jays. I think they definitely have the makings of a World Series contender. This is tough because I don't want to put too many World Series contenders, but they're very dangerous top to bottom. They're one of the best teams in baseball. I'll put them towards the top of the playoff team category because, like I said, I don't want to put like 8 teams in the World Series contender category, so I'll put them towards the top of the playoff team category. They're just loaded top to bottom, but they have been a little bit inconsistent so far. Baltimore Orioles. I'm happy for this team. They've come out and looked a lot better than they have in recent years, and they're definitely a lot better than what they were before. So they're definitely not an awful team, and they're honestly getting pretty close to a team that could potentially be like Texas towards the end of the on the bubble tier, but they're a lot better than they have been in the past. And honestly, if they weren't in the AL East, they'd probably be close to 500, maybe even at 500. So they're a lot better, and I'm really happy for them and their fans. They're still not a great team, but I'll put them towards the top of the not great category because I think they're a little bit better than the rest of the teams in this tier, to be honest. Atlanta Braves, they, in my opinion, are the definition of a playoff team. I know they're the defending champs, and they're going to probably be in the postseason yet again, and who knows, they could even catch the Mets for the NL East. They're very dangerous, but right now I just don't want to put them in the World Series contender category because I think they kind of fit in with the rest of these teams here in the playoff team category. Arizona Diamondbacks, another team that's not great. They did get off to a pretty good start early on this season, but there's no denying they're not really a team that I think is going to be on the bubble this year. A couple years away from competing. Zach Allen's been great. Christian Walker's been a really good source of power, but they're just not a great team as of today. Cleveland Guardians. I'm going to put them in the playoff team category. They've been amazing so far, and I'm really happy to see it because they've been a lot of fun to watch. I love the way they play the game. They're the type of team that can score like 5 runs, 4, maybe even 3 runs a game and still win because their pitching is just so good. So I'm really happy for Cleveland, and I think they've looked like a playoff team so far. Boston Red Sox, been on fire as of late. Been one of the most hot teams in baseball as of right now. And with how good the Yankees are, unfortunately, they haven't picked up much ground, but they're definitely a playoff team, and I think they could make some noise come October if they get some more starting pitching and bullpen help. They're a very good team, and I think they're definitely going to be making some noise in the postseason. Miami Marlins. They're below 500, but I've said this numerous occasions. I think they're a lot better than their record, and I think they're definitely a team that's going to be on the bubble, and I wouldn't be surprised if they took a big leap in the second half and made the postseason. Tampa Bay Rays, this is a playoff team. I think they're going to be in the postseason yet again. They've been to the postseason, it seems like every year. With whatever roster they have, they just seem to compete, and I really am a big fan of them, and I think they're a playoff team. Cincinnati Reds started off historically bad, and they caught a little bit of fire, and now they're back to being really bad. I think they're in the not great category. I think they're slightly better than the Nationals. I don't think they deserve to be in the awful category. Los Angeles Dodgers, they've been a little bit tricky so far. They're still a really good team, but they've had their ups and downs throughout the season, but I think they're going to get things right come October. I think they're definitely a World Series contender. San Francisco Giants, I think they're a team that's on the bubble. They're going to be slightly above 500 all season, I believe, and I think they're going to be right towards that 3rd National League wild card spot. And finally, we have the Oakland A's. They are definitely in the awful category. They're the worst team record-wise in baseball. They have not much talent at all. The talent that they do have in Frankie Montas and Paul Blackburn and all those guys, I think they could be moved at the deadline, and I think it's likely Montas is going to be moved. So they're clearly tanking, and they are definitely an awful team. So there you have my team tier list so far up to this point in 2022. Let me know what you guys think down below, where you agree or disagree. And as always, if you guys do enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to post a lot more baseball videos here as we go further into 2022. And lastly, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching and continuing to support, and I'll see you next time.